Of the different roles and responsibilities of being a father, surely killing your pregnant wife and 20-month-old daughter aren't on that list. Apparently John Myles Sharpe, or the Mornington monster of Australia, doesn't think so. Hey, it's Geneva and welcome to Mystery Digest, where every Sunday I cover true crime cases, paranormal cases, and other mystery-related content. This Sunday's case hails from Mornington, Australia, into the homes of the Sharpe family where the unthinkable happened. The father of the house decided to execute his entire family, his pregnant wife of 9 years, and his 20-month-old daughter, all because he didn't feel like he wanted more children. So we're going to look into the details of the case, his attempt to mislead all of Australia as he pretended to be the innocent husband searching for his wife and child, the lives that were lost, and how the trial went down. A little on John Sharpe. He was the fifth born of 6 children for his parents, Valerie and Myles Sharpe of Mornington, Australia. He had a fairly unremarkable upbringing. He had social issues and heavily relied on his parents. It's said that he has very low emotional intelligence, bad problem-solving skills, and lacked the ability to manage much stressors in his life. He completed high school with less than an average performance and landed a job at a state bank. He then moved on to work at another bank, this time the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. This is where he met his wife-to-be, Anna Kemp, who was 4 years his senior. Besides from his inability to deal with a lot of stressors in his life and his lack of problem-solving skills, nothing really indicated to the level of destruction he was capable of. In October 1994, Anna and John tied the knot. The couple spent the next couple of years living in different locations in Mornington. 8 years later, in 2002, Anna gave birth to their beautiful daughter, Gracie Sharpe. Baby Gracie was born with a condition called hip dysplasia. It's a physical abnormality in her hips that required orthopedic treatments, which included a corrective harness she had to wear for the first 3 months of her life. She would often cry a lot and had difficulty feeding and sleeping because of the discomfort she was experiencing. And as you'd imagine, this took a toll on the young parents and eventually on their marriage. Even after the harness was removed, the baby still had difficulty feeding and sleeping. At this point, Anna sought out professional help. In early 2003, John purchased a high-powered Speargun and an extra spear from a sports shop in Mornington. He had not previously shown any interest in spearfishing, so this purchase kind of raised an eyebrow. He only fired it once, apparently to become familiar with the gun's orientation. A couple months later, in September 2003, the family moved to the now infamous 116 Prince Street, Mornington, Victoria, Australia. Soon after the move, Anna surprised John with the news of their second pregnancy. It's unclear what his initial response was, but apparently he had decided that he didn't want any more children. John had thought that their first daughter was enough of a burden, so he developed a deep resentment to his wife and unborn child. On March 21, 2004, the Sharpe family attended the birthday party of a nephew. Their family members reported no tensions nor arguments between the two. However, 2 days later, on the 23rd, John and Anna had an argument just before bed. It's unclear what it was about. John got out of bed in the night and went to the garage to retrieve a certain spear gun, which honestly should have just been a souvenir, since he only shot the thing once. Returning to the room that he shared with his wife of 9 years, he fired the spear at a distance to Anna's left temple. However, he noticed that she was still breathing, so he fired another shot in her head, effectively killing his pregnant wife. After killing her, he covered her body with a towel, then went downstairs to sleep on the sofa because apparently he couldn't bear to face what he's done. I have a solution to that. If you don't want to see a dead wife, maybe don't kill her. The next day, John carried his daughter Gracie to the daycare center like he always did and even picked her up back in the afternoon. While at home, John tried to remove the spears from his wife's head, but failed. He only managed to unscrew the shafts from her skull. He then dug a shallow grave in their backyard and buried his wife's body. During the day, he also got a visit from a TV repairman, but he had to lie to him, so his crimes couldn't have been discovered. Can you imagine going to work, just, trying to do your job so you can go back home to rest, and you find the dead body of a pregnant woman while working? That's not in his job description. Let's do a quick timeline check. So Anna was murdered on the 23rd of March. Her body was buried on the 24th. Then sometime in between the 24th and the early hours of the 27th, John made another supply run to the sports shop to buy another spear, this time bringing along his next victim, 20-month-old Gracie. But on a functional level here, if you're the single parent of a child and you need to make a run to the supermarket to go pick something up, the logical thing for you to do is bring them along. But there's a certain level of hideousness to the fact that he brought along his daughter to buy the very thing he was going to use and kill her. That's what my mind can't seem to grasp. What was going through this guy's head? Poor Gracie was probably excited to go out and get some candy or a new toy, but shopping for a murder weapon? Nah. On March 27, 2004, John put baby Gracie to bed in her cot, then went to drink several glasses of Coke and whiskey. He then retrieved the spear gun from the garage one more time, loaded it with the new spear he bought, and fired it into his daughter's head, penetrating her skull. The first shot didn't kill her. With his child wounded and screaming loudly, John went to retrieve the two spears he unscrewed from his wife's dead body, returned to the bedroom, and fired both into Gracie's head again. And that still didn't kill her. Poor Gracie was there screaming her throat out in pain. The very man that was supposed to protect her was committed to ending her life, and very painfully too. She wasn't even 2 years old. She must have been so confused. John drew one of the spears from Gracie's head, reloaded it, and fired it into her skull again. And that was the one that killed her. The next morning, he returned to Gracie's room and pulled the spears from her head while covering his face with a towel to avoid looking directly at his dead child. Who's gonna say it with me? If you don't want to see a dead child, don't kill your kid. It's literally not rocket science. He wrapped her body in garbage bags and tarpaulin, then bound her body with black duct tape. He then disposed of her body at the Mornington Refuse Transfer Station, along with the spear gun, the spares, a few of Gracie's clothing, and toys. 2 days later, on March 29th, John left the house on another supply run, this time to visit a local hardware store where he made a purchase of a roll of duct tape, 2 tarpaulins, and an electric chainsaw. The following day, he exhumed Anna's body and cut her into 3 pieces, bagged and taped her body up, along with some more evidence, and disposed of her body in waste collection bins at the Mornington transfer station. In order to keep the suspicion off his back, he came up with an elaborate story that his wife left with their child to go live with another man. So on the same day he dismembered and disposed of his wife's body, he sent a forged email to Anna's family in New Zealand to create the impression that she was alive and well. But rather than ease the family's worries, it aroused more suspicion. As a result, Anna's mother reported her missing to the New Zealand police. John later told the police that Anna had moved to the nearby suburb of Chelsea in Mornington with their daughter, and denied having any more knowledge or involvement of her disappearance. He also arranged for flowers to be delivered to her mother's house, still desperately trying to paint the picture of an untrue narrative. During early May of 2004, John gave multiple press interviews and even appeared on national television, pleading to whoever has information on his wife's whereabouts to share it with the police, or if she herself is listening, to come back home. A quote from one of his interviews: "Anna, our marriage is over, but I still love you, and you are the mother of our beautiful daughter Gracie, whom we both adore more than anyone else." John then said that his wife had run off with another man, and that he'd had contact with her a week before. Late May 2004, the police from where Anna's parents were, in Australia, contacted Victoria Mornington Police Station. They requested that they look deeper into Anna and her daughter's disappearance. The same day, the Victoria Mornington police visited John in his home, and on the 10th of June, he had another interview, but still stuck to the same story he had before. But in an interview following this, after he'd spoken to his family, he confessed to both murders. He told the police that he killed his wife because she was too controlling and moody, and that their marriage was unhappy. It's like this man doesn't even know what divorce is. He told the police, "I was planning on taking care of Gracie by myself, but in the midst of all the madness, I lost the plot." Does he think this is a storybook? Sir, pack it up, pack it up. The police undertook a massive 3-week search of the Mornington landfill site. They almost gave up multiple times, but luckily they persevered and they found both victims' bodies. Sharpe appeared in the Supreme Court of Victoria, where he was arraigned and pled guilty to both murders. On the 5th of August 2005, the court sentenced John to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for 33 years. John is now in protective custody because of threats to his life from his fellow prison mates. So what did you guys think about this week's case? What do you guys think about John? I want to know what you guys think his punishment should be for what he did to both Gracie and Anna. And do you think he should be in protective custody? Here endeth a portion of my unholy word. We end it by saying, don't murder people, especially spouses and children. That's rude. Please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day.